Mary-Kate and Ashley had everything we were looking for. They were adorable babies.
They gave us just gold.
They chased one goal relentlessly.
They wanted to be in Hollywood. They wanted to be actresses.
Olsen and Olsen Mystery Agency.
They have spent their entire life, morning, afternoons, after school, practice, practice, practice.
Surf's up, dudettes.
Through struggles,
It was just a frantic pace.
Everyone this way, please.
We didn't want to see them worked into the ground when they're 7 years old.
and setbacks.
Both Mary-Kate and Ashley were very emotional.
Now that that show was gone, the assumption was, of course, that they would disappear.
Some people are just driven. Two ambitious twins' defiant pursuit of superstardom.
Year after year, they prove everybody wrong, and they have staying power.
Strong move. Very empowering.
They weren't pushed whatsoever. They pushed themselves.
Never before seen images, stories, and revelations from the people who know what really happened.
Mary-Kate and Ashley were freaked out. Especially Mary-Kate. I'm not sure she'd ever kissed a boy before.
Because they lived it with them.
The twins were the youngest self-made millionaires in the history of the United States.
It's like walking around with like Elvis and Jesus Christ at the same time.
This is Driven. Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Hello. We're twins. We're twins. Yes, sir.
Ashley and Mary-Kate were born June 13th, 1986. So Friday the 13th was a lucky day.
Dee-lee-lee-dum.
Ashley came out first. She was the oldest, and then Mary-Kate came out. I had one son at the time, Trent, and you can imagine going from one child to three. We lived in the valley, and everything changed in terms of the house we were living in was a little small. The car wasn't large enough to seat 5. It was a shock to our system. Johnny was with one of her girlfriends, whose daughter was represented by an agency in Burbank. And while she was at the agent, it had just come up in the conversation that we had twins. And then the casting agent said, well, we can use twins. So Johnny, when she came home, sent some family photos. We never really took it seriously that anything would come of it. It was just an opportunity that was there, so she thought she'd follow it through. And then one day they called and said, how about going on for Full House?
The premise of Full House was 3 men raising 3 girls, one of whom was a baby.
The character of Michelle Tanner was the youngest daughter on the show.
The character of Michelle was about 8 months old.
As an infant, you can only work about 20 minutes at a time, and that's it. So, they have to have at least 2 kids to play one role.
So therefore, when you had twins, you bought yourself 40 minutes as opposed to 20 minutes of time.
The casting of Full House was a pretty crazy day. I had no idea what I was getting into.
We had an innumerable number of twins being brought in.
As soon as they showed up, we took them away from their parents. We wanted to see how they reacted to strangers.
I'm not sure what we were looking for, that they weren't colicky, that they were cute.
And so in the office, I had probably 8 or 9 sets of twins just crawling around, and some were spitting up and some were crying, and the weeding out process began fairly quickly. But Mary-Kate and Ashley were immediately very special.
They had everything we were looking for. They were adorable babies.
The producers just fell in love with them.
They had these amazing big blue eyes and hypnotic little faces, and they didn't spit up on me.
They let us play with them. They didn't seem particularly afraid of other people.
They just were easy babies, really sweet, friendly. They'd go to anybody, and they thought they'd just be perfect as Michelle.
So we decided to use them for the pilot.
That was their lucky day. That's where it all started.
The one great scene from the pilot was John Stamos and Dave Coulier are taking the baby downstairs who needs to be changed.
All right, look out. I'll show you how it's done. Come here, child.
None of us had kids at that point, so none of us really knew what to expect from a little toddler, infant. We had no idea.
John Stamos and, you know, Dave Coulier, yeah, there's no kids. They had no chance at changing a diaper.
We were both single guys. We would just get in all kinds of trouble.
The way they were being held, like a hot potato or something.
Showtime!
Where do we put the baby? Where do we put the child?
The pot. Over here.
Whoa, 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 Joey, this is a living thing. You don't just stick it in a pot. Use a meat rack.
Yeah, we put the baby in a turkey pan.
Idiot.
That's comedy.
Come on.
Okay.
And I just remember, you know, my line when they set her in the turkey roaster.
Are you gonna cook Michelle?
We're changing her diaper.
Oh, then how do you roast a turkey?
They got huge, uproarious laughter. It was amazing. Anytime you got two guys carrying a baby, showing a baby's butt, it's all the elements put together. It's a winner.
And that pretty much told us we were going to get on the air.
Ashley and Mary Kate, they made their debut on television on September 22nd, 1987. They would go to the set about 4 or 5 times a week for starters. Jarny would drive them over, just get them acclimated to the sets and, you know, everybody around them.
It was very difficult on a 9-month-old infant.
Sometimes they would respond positively, sometimes they might cry.
It became apparent that the separation anxiety that taken away from their mother to be brought onto the set, it was a trauma.
It's best to not have the mom within eyesight of the child that's working because it breaks the fantasy. There's suddenly mom, there's reality. Uh-oh, I want to go to mommy.
And it became apparent that Jarny could not be around.
It was just easier for us if the parents weren't there. They were a bit of a distraction for the girls.
So we basically asked Jarny if she would not mind bringing the girls and kind of disappearing.
A lot of people on the set really kind of stepped in and took that kind of maternal care of them.
There was a support team that was put in place.
When I came onto the show Full House, I was there to watch over the welfare of the 2 little babies on the show, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
A year later, they called her the baby wrangler. Assigned to the task of getting the girls to so that was a challenge.
It's very difficult to get a baby to act.
I would lie face down on the floor, off camera, and I would jingle my bracelets, and then they would crawl to me.
She would crawl across the stage on her belly, hide behind couches, sneak into refrigerators, whatever she had to do.
I went out and I bought some puppets, and then I bought squeak toys, just to captivate them, you know, to get their interest.
She could get them to just light up with a smile or to calm down, and you know, she really worked wonders with them.
For the first season, most of America didn't know that it was twins.
We just kept switching off back and forth.
We were forever trying to figure out which one liked what was going on and which one didn't.
Mary Kate was more comfortable on camera. So season 1, we used Mary Kate quite a bit, and when she got tired, we'd bring in Ashley.
Every time I brought Ashley onto the set, she cried. She didn't want to be on set.
We were pretty limited to how far we could push using them.
Have they had breaks? Have they eaten? You know, are they tired?
There are limitations to the amount of time they're allowed to be under the lights.
So you pull them out of a nap or their crib or wherever they were, put them on the set in front of all these lights, and it's like, okay, go, you're a working actor.
We would have to keep that camera rolling consistently to catch what we wanted.
So it was really difficult just because of the restraints that we had to deal with.
The initial reviews of Full House were pretty bad.
Our numbers were not that great. The critics never liked our show.
Critics just destroyed us. They said this show is not funny, and it's so unbelievable that these 3 guys would end up raising these 3 girls.
They said it was a fluffy, cheesy family comedy, and you know, there was no substance to it.
We were in danger of being canceled several times that first season.
We really did not know if the show was going to be picked up.
Next, the Olsens think twice about their twins' future.
The parents had some questions. Is this really what we want for our kids?
By that point, the twins had become critical.
After the conclusion of the first season of Full House, we weren't sure whether the show was going to get picked up.
It wasn't a runaway hit.
The reviews were, you know, marginal at best.
When you make shows that aren't driven towards an older demographic, they are just not considered to be worthy.
They didn't see us as a real meaningful show.
ABC finally made the decision that they were going to go another year.
By the end of the first season, we had pretty much figured out the show we wanted to do. This was going to be a family show that gave equal weight to both the adults and the kids.
By the time we were ready to start the second season, Mrs. Olsen was having another baby. This would be her fourth child.
The parents had some questions about what have we gotten ourselves into, and is this really what we want for our kids?
It was just overwhelming to think about the responsibilities of coming to the set and taking care of the toddler that was home and the new baby that she had.
Trent was causing a great deal of stress to Jarney.
I think any mother would, have some reservations whether or not you want to, continue with this.
Mrs. Olsen said to me, I don't think we're going to do season number 2.
By that point, the twins had become critical to that show.
That's when I called the executive producers and I said, we need to look into making this woman's life much easier.
Money speaks. A negotiation took place.
We provided them with a driver. We provided them with full-time nannies.
It just added a sense of calm around the house that I think we desperately needed at the time.
These are the problems that you address when you decide you're going to raise a child on TV.
Ashley and Mary Kate, literally, we had to watch them grow up on Full House.
It was determined we were going to raise those girls on camera, which is the first time that anybody has ever attempted to do that.
We tried to keep track of what was going on in Ashley and Mary Kate's lives. All of their firsts, managed to show up on that show. Their first words, their first steps, those big milestones in a little kid's life, we put into the show.
What about me?
You stay right here and watch that hole.
You got it, dude.
They had all these great, little one-liners, and, people just fell in love with them.
I'm good at this.
They essentially were parroting their lines.
Did you have the twins yet? Did you have the twins yet?
No, not yet. What's taking them so long?
What's taking them so long?
We had Adria later, who would stand off camera and feed the girls their line, and they would say the line.
Happen what? Happen what?
They both were in the episode of learning to ride the bike.
You're not gonna let me go, right?
No way, not until you say so.
Okay, let's do it.
That kind of made me feel bad because usually that's something that you go through with all your kids. You're pushing them, running along behind, and trying to hold them and then let them go.
Let go.
That was a remarkable episode for us because we were watching real kids trying to learn to ride a bike.
Michelle, I am so proud of you. You did it all by yourself.
Jody, I did it with you.
The look on their faces of sheer and utter joy at being able to do it, to accomplish that feat, was truly remarkable.
That was more of a moment that kind of just it didn't feel so good for me, just the fact that you couldn't participate in that.
Michelle, okay. Okay.
All in all, it was a lot of fun. But there were plenty of times where the girls were just not in the mood to work.
I used to flip them every other scene because to do 2 scenes back to back is very tiring.
If it was a very emotional scene, Ashley played that scene. And if it had more comedic timing, Mary Kate would play those scenes.
It was great having 2 of them because whatever was going on, we had everything covered. After the first season, ABC moved us behind Who's the Boss on Tuesday nights.
The show it took off.
All of a sudden, we went from number 70 in the ratings every week to being a top 10 show.
By the time we hit to about the 3rd or 4th season, we were pretty much a ratings juggernaut.
America discovered our show, and I think a lot of that had to do with the Olsen twins.
The popularity of Mary Kate and Ashley started to grow.
That character became everybody's child.
Before the taping of every show, we introduced the cast, and Ashley and Mary Kate, they'd come out and wave to the audience, and they would get a standing ovation and screams and yells. It was like Elvis had walked in.
I said to Mr. Olsen, money is not my department. I'm just telling you, if they're offering you scale, whatever scale is, it's not enough because your daughters are phenomenal and America loves them.
The girls probably were about 4 years old when the father had connected to Robert Thorne.
Robert Thorne was brought in to renegotiate Ashley Mary Kate's contract in 1990.
I just went in and asked the head producer for a raise, and he said okay, and he gave it to me.
He did renegotiate the contract to a lot more money.
I think it went from $4,000 to $25,000.
We're no longer dealing with two sweet little girls. We're dealing with Robert Thorne, their attorney.
Jeff Franklin, the producer of Full House, wanted the girls to make a movie for television. To grandmother's house we go.
After all those years of having both of them play one character, you know, I couldn't wait for everybody to see how much fun the two of them were together.
We went up to Vancouver and filmed this in about 3 weeks to a month.
They became actors on that film. They got the script, they learned their lines, they rehearsed their scenes. It was really a major event in their lives.
To Grandmother's House We Go was very highly rated.
It was a bit of a surprise how well it did.
And it came in number 10 for the week. And the next morning, everybody was screaming and hurraying and saying, oh my God, we have something here.
It showed that they could succeed as Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, apart from Full House.
We met with senior brass at ABC and said, we're going to supply you a new television series, 3 or 4 TV movies, and a couple specials. We're going to be the network supplier.
Robert Thorne negotiated for them a deal with ABC that made them the youngest producers in Hollywood.
ABC said, well, you can't be. And we said, well, then we won't do it. And they had to accept our terms.
Dual Star was created, and at that point, we were now dealing with an entity.
Dual Star Entertainment is a company that Mary-Kate and Ashley own.
I understand that you have a production company. Do you understand what that is, or no, not really?
It's very common in show business for actors that are essential to a project to be given producer credits. It's very unusual that a pair of 6-year-olds would be given that credit.
The reaction in the press was one of surprise, not just disbelief, but from some quarters, anger.
There was a really big rash of stories across the country, youngest producers in Hollywood.
Mary-Kate and Ashley would produce a slate of programming, television specials and television movies, I believe, at that time. And I don't think that anything like it had ever been done for a child star.
After that, they own every series, every movie, everything.
They will be able contractually to make choices so that they can never be manipulated and harmed and exploited in the way that other child stars have. I really think that Robert Thorne saw the big picture, what was possible for Mary-Kate and Ashley from the time they were 4 years old.
I can just imagine the little gleam in Robert and Thorne's eyes saying, well, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Next, Mary-Kate and Ashley strike gold.
The twins were the youngest self-made millionaires in the history of the United States.
And the pressure's on.
As a parent, you're wondering, boy, this would be difficult for the adults to handle.
Out of 10 people need... When Robert came to Mary-Kate and Ashley, they were already enormously popular. So he had the raw material to work with, but he also had incredible vision.
America loved them, but Robert Thorne took it to the next level.
Time has come. Time to find out what you're really made of, because this town ain't big enough for the 3 of us. So draw, unless you're yeller.
We're not yeller.
Then draw.
We never draw first. You draw first.
No, you draw first.
No, you.
No, you.
You.
They did 3 movies back to back for ABC, but in addition to that, Robert was striking deals with record companies.
Brother for sale. Only 50 cents.
I saw an article in one of the trade publications about a gentleman who was starting a children's label at Bertelsmann Group, and I called him, and one thing led to another, and we did a children's album that almost certified gold, did about 340,000 units.
They needed something to sell it, so they put together a music video.
If Mom knew we were selling him, we would really get it. Buy him now, don't pay till June on approved credit.
Our first video was just a collection of music videos, really low budget, but it wound up topping a music chart that had videos by acts like Metallica and Aerosmith, and it outsold them for over a year and a half. We realized that you just couldn't indefinitely do, a series of music video collections. That would get stale pretty quick. So what we needed was some kind of story content.
They needed to have a gimmick.
Robert thought it would be cute to have them be little Sam Spades.
Who stole the Great Hope Diamond? What killed the dinosaurs?
The Adventures of Mary-Kate and Ashley were a series of half-hour, direct-to-video musical mysteries.
Mysteries of life, screaming to be solved. Here we stand in our trench coats, dying to get involved.
And then they sort of got out of the detective mode and just went into Mary-Kate and Ashley go to Hawaii.
Surf's up, dudettes. When I see the sun is shining, I can tell this will be my day.
Mary-Kate and Ashley take a cruise.
We usually shot the short videos either on a hiatus week from Full House or in the summer.
They would travel to Europe and Australia and, the Bahamas.
We always said, do you want to do this? Do you want to go to SeaWorld? Do you want to go to France? Do you want to? Yeah, we want to go. We love to travel. We love our work.
It's Mary-Kate and Ashley, the famous Trenchcoat twins. The Case of Thorn Mansion, Logical Eye Ranch, Mystery Cruise, SeaWorld Adventure, Funhouse Mystery, Christmas Caper. I know them all.
I bet you're speedy.
Each video did phenomenally well, selling several 100,000 copies. Up until that point, if you were putting out a direct-to-video project, you were either an animated character or you were a purple dinosaur. There wasn't anything in the marketplace to compete with Mary-Kate and Ashley.
They were 7 years old when we started doing those.
The twins were the youngest self-made millionaires in the history of the United States.
They had no concept of how much money they were making.
One morning they were going to work and they were tired, and Ashley said, boy, we're working so much. We better be making $2 a week. And Mary-Kate was horrified with that and said, $2? We have to be making $10 a week or I'm not even going to do this.
I don't think that they were aware of how popular they actually were.
We decided that we were going to do a personal appearance in New York at FAO Schwartz. We expected a couple hundred people, and it turned out that a little bit over 10,000 people turned up.
Everyone this way, please.
Because they were so popular, it was very hard to have a normal life as a child, to not be just some anonymous kid that could go out and do anything they wanted.
To be surrounded by people, oftentimes was intimidating.
Sometimes people would run up to them, hug them, kiss them, and treat them as though they were their family.
I would say these are people who love you. They watch you on TV, they feel like they know you.
And they would be absolutely shocked.
They were tired a lot because they really weren't resting on the weekends.
Working so much and going to school on set and trying to fit in the 3 hours a day for their education was difficult.
It was just a frantic pace between school and everything.
They're definitely going in 10 directions at once.
It's a constant treadmill that you're on. You're going all the time.
They were coming to work, start school, then they would go through the works through hair, makeup, getting ready, and then they'd come back to me to do more school if they had time.
When Ashley would be working, Mary-Kate would be backstage doing school or vice versa.
As a parent, you're wondering, boy, this would be difficult for the adults to handle.
We were concerned that the girls weren't getting enough time to be girls. We felt that the girls were being overworked.
We always juggled with the issue that we might have too much going on.
There were people in the organization that had a difference of opinion, that they felt the girls were fine.
When you talk to somebody, if you put your hands up all over your face, then he can't see you and the cameraman can't see you. You don't want to do this, do you? I don't know if you're going to get this.
When I got the call from Ashley from the set of Full House saying, we're not doing this interview, a light went off and I said, time to pull back. We've gone too far.
The ending of Full House kind of came as a surprise.
ABC decided they were going to start to do away with their family shows and they were going to try to become a little bit hipper and a little more urban.
And all of a sudden, that was the end of Full House.
Everyone was in shock
We were broadsided. We didn't even have time to prepare like a farewell show or a goodbye show. There was nothing.
The last day on Full House was an incredibly sad day. It was like being on a roller coaster for 8 years and suddenly somebody says, okay, the ride's over.
It was just a gut-wrenching moment. And for Ashley and Mary-Kate, they were 8 years old.
It was definitely difficult.
They were upset, but I don't think that they understood the impact at that time.
For kids, it's twice as hard because they don't understand business.
That things were really going to change the next season, meaning we weren't coming back.
People would kind of made, bets in the office pools about how over they would be once Full House was canceled.
The first thing I had to do is deal with the press, who said, DOA, it's over. The show's canceled. We aren't going to see the Olsen twins anymore.
Now that show was gone, what would happen to their career? And the assumption was, of course, that they would disappear.
Next, divorce divides the Olsen family.
That was a complicated time, not without a lot of emotion.
Mary-Kate and Ashley had each other. They could talk to each other about it and say, how are you feeling?
Log on to VH1.com to see early photos of Mary-Kate and Ashley, and check out early photos and footage of all Driven artists.
When Full House was canceled, both Mary-Kate and Ashley were very emotional.
I do remember reading a lot of things like, oh, well, it's the end of the Olsen twin phenomenon.
And the assumption was they'd wind up on the radio 20 years down the road, or whatever, in bad commercials.
We thought that, maybe there won't be any more offers for any TV series.
I knew that it wasn't over. We knew it was just time for the next chapter. They wanted to be in Hollywood, they wanted to be actresses, so I knew there was opportunity. We just kept churning it.
Shortly thereafter, they shot their first feature film, It Takes Two, with Kirstie Alley and Steve Guttenberg.
It Takes Two is a great comedy about two lookalikes.
Oh, Vincenzo, it's gorgeous. I think this house is going to be my favorite.
One of the girls lives in an orphanage. One of the girls lives with a billionaire. I'm the billionaire father.
Oh,
there she is. Come over here. Oh, my little.
Ashley played a very sophisticated, upper-crust child who studied abroad in England. Mary-Kate played more of an orphaned child from the Bronx who had a lot of attitude.
What?
It's time for your interview. Now drop the bat. Let's go.
Just let me smash this ball downtown, okay?
Working with them as an actor was easy because they're so well trained and they're so professional.
That movie was a successful movie. If it had been a flop, people might have had some ammunition to say, well, it worked on Full House, but it doesn't translate to the big screen. It did respectably, and they did respectably.
Their lives changed in one way because they were able to do a feature, and it was pretty successful, but we wanted to make sure that things still stayed pretty consistent around the house.
Their parents never, ever defined them by what they did.
They're rich, they're famous, they're talented, but in their personal lives, you wouldn't know any of that. They don't talk about it, and they don't live it.
Dave and Jarni are not the typical Hollywood parents.
It's all in the way that you live. It's all about your priorities and your values. And for some people, money is the ultimate measure of things. For them, it clearly isn't.
I don't see any reason for all the excess. Just to spend money, just to spend money.
They kept their family normal, and they kept the girls normal.
They treated them just like the other kids in the household. They had the same responsibilities.
Mary-Kate and Ashley always had to do little chores around the house.
They had to make their beds and do everything that a regular girl would do.
They could only watch TV for a certain amount of time.
I said no a lot. We made a conscious effort to maintain some sense of orderliness in our household.
At the same time, there were changes in their family that they had to deal with. Mary-Kate and Ashley's parents got divorced in 1995.
That was a complicated time, not without a lot of emotion and change.
They had to learn an important life lesson at a very young age, and that is that you have to take the good with the bad in life.
I think that they handled it as well as they could.
They had a lot of nurturing, a lot of people around them to talk with and to support them and to encourage them.
Mary-Kate and Ashley had each other. You know, they could talk to each other about it and say, how are you feeling?
Made it quite clear that Jarny loves him as, equally as I do, and there's nothing that we wouldn't do, for them. And they took some solace in that.
The fact that the parents have remained on good terms and that the mom and dad are such powerful presences in their lives has helped to soften that blow.
What helped them with the transition was the fact that they were busy.
We had made the deal for another series, and the girls liked television. In fact, they considered it their second home, and they missed it.
Two of a Kind was their second sitcom. It was on ABC.
The show was originally written for them and created around them.
Why do you want to hang out with those stuck-up cheerleaders anyway? Well, because they're the most popular girls in school.
But you're popular.
Sure, compared to Mary-Kate.
Mary-Kate was always looked at as like the tomboy, whereas Ashley, she liked girly things.
But being a cheerleader would make me really, really popular. So would a Wonder Bra.
In a way, that was close to what they were.
Mary-Kate and Ashley, during Two of a Kind, were getting a little older, so they had more opinions.
They live in Los Angeles, so it was important to them, I think, to sort of look contemporary.
I would have to bring 5 racks of clothes for the girls just to pull, 3 outfits from each. If they didn't like the shirt was a goner. I learned very early on that there really wasn't a great deal of negotiations between myself and the girls. They're my boss. They win.
They were much more vocal about what they wanted.
Instead of working 5 days a week, we would work 4 days a week.
They could alter their schedule because they were in charge.
We would end the day for Mary-Kate because she had horseback riding lessons to go to. And we would end another day because Ashley had to go to a dance class. We tried to make sure that they still had their lives.
When they started to get into middle school and socializing became more important, they did want to spend more time in school because school was fun and boys were fun.
When they were with their friends, they were with their friends. And why want to talk about work when you're with your friends and you can have fun?
And they wanted to party a little bit more and do what they wanted to do.
Every kid wants to rebel once in a while. Mary-Kate and Ashley can't go out and do a lot of things that other kids can do because it'll be in the Inquirer or whatever. It's got to be hard living in the spotlight and wanting to be a kid.
Two of a Kind was supposed to be the big Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen sitcom. We did about 24 episodes, and we thought that it was going to go on. It didn't go on.
We did very respectable numbers with our show. It's just, it didn't really fit with ABC's plans.
When Two of a Kind was canceled, they were considered dead on arrival again, just as when Full House was canceled.
Sometimes it doesn't always work out. I think they understand that you can't win all the time.
They were sad and they were hurt, but they understood that family fare just wasn't doing well, and they understood it was just a trend. And they knew that they could survive it in their business and withstand it.
I said, so what are you guys going to do? And they said, well, you know what? We're going to take some time off, and then we're going to start doing something else. We'll find something to do.
Their attitude was about moving on.
What's nice is you really can't take the drive out of them, no matter what. They're very resilient in that sense. They're just going to continue plodding forward.
Next, Mary-Kate and Ashley take on the world.
Once the Walmart line hit, the whole brand became alive.
It changed Mary-Kate and Ashley from child actresses to moguls.
When the second sitcom was canceled, it kind of leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. But Ashley and Mary-Kate didn't really dwell on it much. They just don't.
They went into this whole series of direct-to-video movies.
Strong move. Very empowering.
When in Rome, Switching Goals, and Holiday in the Sun.
Are you dreaming what I was dreaming? Winter break in Hawaii?
hanging out with like the cutest guys in the world. Dead on.
The level of control that they had on those projects was enormous, almost 100%.
I used to show them the cuts and talk about them. We used to go over the scripts together. We'd do a read-through and talk about the language and the dialogue.
They would decide if they wanted to say the words that were on the page.
Even though they were 12 or 13, they just saw themselves a little differently. A little older, a little more mature.
They're much closer in age, obviously, to the target audience for these movies. So when they speak their mind, you'd be wise to listen to them.
I'd rely on them a lot for what's hip, what's going on in your school. I mean, you know, I was 50 years old.
The executive producer title was no longer just a moniker. They literally were involved in day-to-day decisions. They would decide who would be cast in their videos.
And boys are always #1 on their list.
Ooh, here's a good one.
I'd watch a guy walk in, and they'd look at each other, and their hearts would break.
I am Paul.
I'm impressed.
Then I'd realize that there was a problem brewing, because as soon as he left, they were both going to look at me and go, I want him to play my boyfriend.
If Mary-Kate got her way on one project, then the next project, Ashley would get the boy of her choice.
The biggest event in Passport to Paris would have to be considered Mary-Kate and Ashley's first screen kiss.
May I have the stats?
We wanted to have the first kiss, and we wanted to make a big deal of it.
We ended up doing that scene like the second day, and I didn't know him at all. It was pretty nerve-wracking.
Mary-Kate and Ashley were freaked out. Especially Mary-Kate, because I'm not sure she'd ever kissed a boy before.
They sent me away. They didn't want me around, and I didn't want to be around.
I don't know when I'll see you again, Melanie.
Well, when the video heads get famous, maybe you'll tour LA.
It was just so awkward and weird. Mary-Kate kept on fumbling on one of the lines.
She was at first paralyzed. It was like she couldn't believe she had to do this.
Ashley kept on yelling at her during the scenes after because she messed up her lines, so they kept on fighting about that.
They had to do it probably 12 or 13 times before they got the take right.
I wish you did not have to leave tomorrow.
It was like this special moment.
We wanted it to have some resonance for the audience so that they felt like this is a big moment in the development of their on-screen characters.
Oh, I miss you, funny girl.
I miss you too.
People for the first time got to see them as young ladies and not just as children.
They were transitioning into budding girls that had a fashion sense.
I used to see that kids would try to emulate Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Ashley is very sophisticated. She dresses more like she's going to a meeting or something like that. And Mary-Kate's just kind of funky, whatever goes, works, go with the flow type of girl.
They always dressed really well, and they had a stylist that was very trend-forward.
We went to adult boutiques, and we'd find cool, hip clothes from all the designers, and then we had a tailor who was full-time, and all she did was cut down these clothes for the kids.
I would get all these questions, not just from press, but from fans. Where can we buy those clothes that Mary-Kate and Ashley were wearing? And the answer, of course, was you couldn't buy them because they had to be specially made for them.
I had been after Robert Thorne for years. I said, let me design a clothing line, please. There's nothing out there. I'm out there every day. I'm telling you, I know what's missing.
She kept saying to me, there's really a demand out there. So we saw the opportunity and we pursued it. And in 1999, we actually went out to the retail community to try to sell this idea.
They chose to go to Walmart with their fashion line because they knew that if they went to Walmart that their fans could afford it.
Walmart had said, okay, we're going to do it. I don't think Mary-Kate and Ashley understood at that time the magnitude of what that would bring.
They had an opportunity to sell product through the biggest retailer in the world. That was the genesis of the Walmart brand, the Mary-Kate and Ashley brand.
Mary-Kate and Ashley helped me design the Walmart fashion.
They're business savvy, I think, and their ambition started growing.
They wanted to be designers.
They're involved in the fashion line every step of the way, picking the trends, picking fabrics, looking at the designs with Judy, deciding what they like.
It's really important to them because their name's on it, that they put the stamp of approval on the designs.
Give it up one last time for Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Real fashion for real girls.
They were 15 when it actually launched. They were very excited for that launch.
We've done a lot in our careers, but this is the most exciting thing we've done yet. A brand new fashion line.
I mean, the clothes were flying off the racks.
Once the Walmart line hit, the whole brand and the awareness became alive.
The Walmart deal changed everything. It changed Mary-Kate and Ashley from just being child actresses to essentially being moguls.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley brand really started to explode.
Their clothing line branched off into makeup and hair products.
Mary-Kate and Ashley sunglasses. There's Mary-Kate and Ashley shampoo.
It's Mary-Kate and Ashley this, Mary-Kate and Ashley that.
Mary-Kate and Ashley like lip gloss that sparkles.
What in the world will they come up with next?
It's a wealth of different categories of product, and they own and control it. And in my book, that defines a brand, and there's probably fewer than 5 celebrities in the world that can say that about themselves.
And it is that brand now that generates $1 billion at retail, not just here, but in countries around the world.
They're in Australia, they're in England.
Canada, France, globally, they're a phenomenon.
It's something that has moved beyond just 2 girls. It's about this bigger entity that has been created from their inspiration.
One has to credit Robert Thorne because he basically built them into an empire. Many of us had our problems with Robert Thorne because we thought that he was maybe too manipulative, too controlling, mostly for our concern for the girls. As it turned out, Robert Thorne wins. He won.
We don't like to talk about the specifics, like what the girls end up making and all. It makes them very uncomfortable. But the retail sales in 2003 will be about $1.4 billion.
I don't think that they're comfortable with the concept of anybody saying it's an Olsen empire. It's just not what they're about.
They don't spend an extravagant amount of money.
Okay, you have $1 billion and you are worried about maybe a $40 pair of shoes or something like that. To me, that kept them real.
I take comfort in the fact that the girls stay normal. It's been ingrained in them since they were younger.
I think that that accounts for most of their popularity, the fact that people really do legitimately feel that they are real.
Everyone feels fortunate that the public has embraced this. Every day we pinch ourselves thinking that we're dreaming.
It's really mind-blowing to think about what's happened to Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, from those 7-month-old little girls that I first cast to this billion-dollar company that's emerged.
If you would have taken a poll on the set of Full House, none of us would have expected that they would have turned out to be so monumentally well-adjusted as they are.
No one else can possibly understand or relate to the kind of fame and success that they have, except for each other.
I'm sure there are a lot of skeptics out there that go, well, this is the final year. Well, this can't go on much longer. And year after year, they prove everybody wrong.
They persevered and they believed in what they were doing. They haven't inherited their money. They actually went out and earned it. They've earned every penny.
People ask kids all the time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you know, Mary-Kate and Ashley are a shining example of you don't have to wait till you grow up. You can be whatever you want to be right now.
If Mom knew we were selling him, we would really get it. Buy him now, don't pay till June on approved credit. Rather for sale, only 50 cents. We like to hug him, we like to bug him, he's really rather nice. Our brother's not for sale, not for any price.